I feel like one thing that you have to deal with before you even begin to operate in purpose and become the most phenomenal version of yourself, the first thing you have to deal with is limiting self-beliefs. And we all have them, right? You know, people might have spoken things over you, planted seeds, and you didn't realize that you nurtured them by believing it. And now you've grown up and you have this limiting belief about who you are and what you can do. The first thing that you need to do is expose that limiting belief for the lie that it is. And for me, my limiting belief, speaking as well, I thought that I was not articulate.
Huh? Sorry, when did you think this?
Up until 2-3 years ago.
Hey,
Yeah.
I was about, you know what I was about to say to her as well?
Speaks very well.
I was going to say, you're so articulate.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I don't even think I heard you stutter on anything this whole episode.
That was my limit in self-belief.
That is
The
crazy.
thing that I was called to do, I had a limit in self-belief there.
Yeah.
The devil knows what he's doing.
Hey.
But anyway, so I had a limit in self-belief, and it was that I was not articulate. And so through therapy, I learned...
about that, man.
Yeah, I know there's so much, but there's not enough time. But
Yeah,
through therapy, I learned to trace everything back to the seed or to childhood. So therapy taught me to trace the things that I'm exhibiting in my adult behavior back to childhood. So when I investigated this limiting belief about me not being articulate, I did an exercise called the 5 whys. I read it in a book. So I had to ask myself 5 times, why do I believe this thing about myself? So I sat down one day and I said, Dammy, why do you believe that you're not articulate? That's the first why. And I said, oh, because every time I have to speak in a setting like an interview or in front of people where I need to seem intelligent, I start to fumble and stumble on my words. So the second why was, why do you stumble on your words? Okay, because I'm trying to use big fancy English so that I sound intelligent. Third why are you trying to sound intelligent? Why can't you just sound like Dammy? Because if I sound like Dammy, I'm going to sound stupid. I'm not going to sound intelligent. Fourth why do you think Dammy sounds stupid? Why do you think she sounds unintelligent? Fifth why, and I traced it back to a conversation that I had almost 13 years ago now. And I was in Miami, living up life. And then we were having a conversation, a superficial conversation about Star Wars. And we're talking, and mid-conversation, one of the guys we were talking to just stops and he goes, Dammy, why do you talk like a bimbo when you're not one? Now, I know this generation might not know what bimbos are because I've told this story to Generation Purpose and one of the kids was like, Miss, what's a bimbo? A bimbo is somebody who is attractive but is unintelligent, right? And this is what this guy said to me mid-conversation. Why do you talk like a bimbo when you're not one? And so what that did was it planted a seed in me that when I talk like myself, when I'm just my normal self, because this is a conversation about Star Wars, when I just talk like Dammy, I must sound unintelligent. And that's where the seed was planted. So now going forward for the next 13 years, whenever I felt like I had to speak a certain way or be perceived as intelligent, I'm there thinking about, I don't sound intelligent, use big words. And because my brain is trying to, use big words instead of just saying what comes naturally, I'm stumbling on for 13 years. So when I uncovered that limiting belief, I said, rah, what else about myself is a lie? And that was kind of the beginning of really discovering, how phenomenal I am and being able to walk into my purpose and operate and live it out. So to any young woman out there, every negative self-belief, every limiting self-belief, anything you say about yourself that isn't positive, I'm sorry, you need to investigate that thing, take it to court and check the receipts. Because when I checked my receipts, you see me, I told you I don't like writing. So my dissertation in uni, I had 6 months to do it, but I left it to the last 72 hours. I'm not condoning this. I left it to the last 72 hours.
Similar to myself.
But I got a first.
Oh, wow. Not similar to myself.
Right? Can somebody who is unintelligent do that? Academically, throughout my whole academic life, GCSEs, A to Bs, like the receipts weren't matching. How can this person not be? But so anything about yourself that isn't positive, right? I'm sorry, you have to take that thing to court, check the receipts and validate it. And more times you'll find it's a lie. So that's the first thing.
So sorry, one thing, like people actually you let something that was a 13-second, not even a 13-second, 1.3-second moment dictate 13 years of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was subconscious. And that's why you have to be so intentional. They say power and life.
Yep. I know exactly what you're saying.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
You know?
Right now, because I've got children now and I saw what that did to me, the moment anybody tries to speak anything over my children that doesn't sound correct, no. Stop. Even when I go to nursery and they try and say, she's a mischievous one, she's a naughty one, I say,
I said,
Hey.
I say,
hey.
strong-willed.
Yes.
How they talk to my daughter like that?
You know, they're saying it in a jokey manner.
No, but it doesn't matter.
She was, but I don't play that.
Yeah.
Deeper. That will manifest itself. Now she's a naughty teenager.
Yeah.
No, we don't deal with that. My
Nope.
daughter's she's a good girl.
Fam.
That's why labels are so important and so effective as well.
Labeling
Like
theory.
the labeling theory,
Yeah.
like what are you actually labeling things? Is this or is it that? You have to be very careful with what you're labeling yourself.
So good, man.
Very careful with what you're labeling yourself, because even though that guy said that thing to you, he said that one thing, then you've repeated that thing to yourself over a course of 13 years.
Yep.
And it took you going to a professional and then you actually getting that. She didn't even uncover this for you. You uncovered it for yourself. So it actually came down to you. It always comes down to you actually at the end. And that's even therapy as well. Because you're always saying that therapy is like someone to overlook, like a third party.
Yeah.
Overlooking your life, overseeing what you're doing, what your situation is, where you've been as well. It's like therapy is going back, right?
Yeah.
And uncovering what you've done or what's happened going
Yeah.
back so that you can go forward.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to be doing therapy this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lot did that in sync.
That was
That's
hard,
hard.
man. No,
That's hard.
I'm a big advocate for therapy, man.
Yeah.
Especially men in therapy.
Yeah.
Men in therapy is needed, man, because so many men all these muscles, but you're hurt inside.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Always have for the muscles. Pure gym, come on. Anyways.